Today we're going to talk about how to be able to record multiple mics into your camera when you only have either two XLR inputs or one 3.5mm jack. I'm going to show you how. This cable here is a solution for it. It's one of the solutions. This is an XLR splitter. You have on this end here two female ends with one male end. And this will allow you to have two mics plugged into here. The other side will go into your camera. You can also do it wirelessly. With this Sony P41D, it's a wireless dual lav setup. You have two mics going into your camera. I've done many shoots for television and film where last minute a producer would tell me, oh, I said originally we're going to have one or two people talking, but it turns out there's going to be 6 people talking now. What do you do in that case? If your camera only has, again, one input 3.5mm jack for audio, or if your camera has 2 XLR inputs, you have to have a workaround. The way a lot of filmmakers handle this would be to record on a separate audio recorder for your audio. You have on this particular model here, it's the Zoom F6. You have 3 inputs on one side and 3 inputs on the other side for a total of 6. There's other models out there where you can actually have more audio channels than that. But that means you have to record your audio separately. It's not going into the camera. That's where the XLR splitter can come in handy. All right, so let's talk about the different ways you can record multiple mics into your camera. Number 1, an XLR splitter going into your XLR inputs. If you have 2 XLR audio inputs going into your camera, such as this camera, the Sony FX30, where you can buy the optional XLR input handle with it. So as you see here, there are 2 XLR inputs on the Sony FX30 and FX3 handle. There's also an input 3, which is a 3.5mm jack. This particular XLR splitter I bought on Amazon by a company named Cable Matters. They are not a sponsor. I just think they're very good cables, well made, about $10 each for these splitters, and they will really help you when you're in a pinch out in the field. If you had 2 of these XLR splitters, you can bring in 4 channels of audio, 4 different mics coming into your camera. You would take the male end of the XLR splitter and place it into input 1. With this input, again, you have 2 mics coming into input 1. If you had a second XLR splitter, you could take the male end and place it into the second input. Now you have what is virtually 4 audio channels coming into your camera. Now, what is the downside with this? The downside to this is the camera can control input 1 and input 2, each one separately, but you can't control all 4 mics through the camera. The only way you can work around this is by adjusting the mic gain down or up. Let's say if on one mic somebody's speaking very low and on the other mic somebody's talking very loudly, you would have to make adjustments on the mic end. Then you can also make adjustments on the camera end. So as you can see here, I'll just take my mic now with an XLR cable. In this case, for the point of this video, I'm not going to attach an XLR cable, but that's what you would do. Attach an XLR cable to this end. On the other end, you would plug in your mic. You had a second mic here, and with your second mic, you would plug it in to the other end. So now you have 2 mics going into input 1 with a wireless receiver like the Sony P41D. You have 2 lav mics or stick mics that you can attach to this. It would be the same idea. On this end here, you would simply plug in both ends for both mics into your XLR splitter, and there you go. This is input 1 with 2 lavs plugged in. This is lav number 1 on input 1. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is lav number 2 on input 1, connected with the XLR splitter. So this is an example of how you can have 4 channels of audio going into 2 XLR inputs on your camera. There's many ways to handle this situation. This is just one of the ways that you can do it. It's the cheapest way that you can. This cable, again, is only $10, and they all average that no matter which company you buy it from. And it really, really comes in handy. It's saved my butt a bunch of times on different shoots. And again, there's different ways that you can do this with certain wireless transmitters and receivers. You can have multiple going to different cameras. You never know if something goes wrong with your wireless mics, and you may have to hardwire it with an XLR cable. Again, this is one of the most important cables to have with your audio gear at all times. Number 2, an XLR splitter going into a 3.5mm jack. All right, so now you might ask me, hey Jay, I only have one input going into the camera for audio. That's a 3.5mm jack. Not a problem. So if you don't want to attach the handle for the FX30 and FX3, you have just the 3.5mm jack. There's another type of XLR splitter that you can buy, which has a 2 female end and a 3.5mm end on the other. This will go into the camera. The other 2 will go into your mics. With this XLR splitter, you can plug in any 2 mics that you want into the camera. As you can see here with the FX30 without the XLR handle, there's only one input for audio. That means one channel of audio going in. So once you plug in this 3.5mm input in, that's what you have. But that's what's great about this XLR splitter. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is mic number 2 going into the XLR splitter, 3.5mm jack. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the mic number 1. This is mic 1. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is mic 1 going into the XLR splitter, 3.5mm jack. Both levels are separated in between channel 1 and channel 2. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Both channels are going in. Again, the issue here would be not being able to manipulate both mics independently when using a splitter. Number 3, a 3.5mm splitter. In the case that you wanted to use prosumer gear, you have the DJI wireless lav and the Sennheiser MKE 400. That can be used too. How would you connect that? You would need a 3.5mm splitter. This end would go into the camera, and these 2 to each individual mic. So in this case, I'll connect the DJI wireless lav and the Sennheiser MKE 400. Now this end goes into the camera. So now you have your 2 mics plugged into the splitter. This end here will go right into the 3.5mm jack. And let's test these mics. This is the Sennheiser MKE 400 on channel 2. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is running to the 3.5mm splitter. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the DJI wireless lav going into channel 1. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the DJI wireless lav going into channel 1. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 4, using an audio recorder with a line out to your camera. So let's talk about the way that I would handle this. And it's definitely not the least expensive, as these devices cost a lot of money. But let's talk about using the Zoom F6. The reason why we're going to bring this up is not only can you get more channels of audio going into your camera being recorded, but you can record in the Zoom F6 itself individual channels that you can manipulate in editing. And that's really important. You have up to 6 channels of audio going into the Zoom F6. and everything is adjustable. You can adjust mic by mic here. You can adjust each mic independently with the gain. This is a great tool to have out in the field, especially the fact that it's portable. You can take one of these, one of the 970 batteries, which is great for out in the field. You can carry a bunch of these on you, and this one battery alone will last all day in recording. This line out here is the Sescom Attenuator, which allows a line out signal to camera without it being too noisy, too loud. It brings everything down to a mic level. So here we have the Sescom line camera out connected to an extension cable going into the XLR out. Then you connect it to your XLR input in your camera. All right, so let's talk about the importance of using inline preamps coming from your microphone into the mixer. The importance of the preamps would be to help to boost the audio gain, clean audio gain, while reducing noise at the same time. That's important because you won't get so much of that hiss coming from the mics. You automatically get that gain without having to boost the gain in the mixer itself. Here are 3 examples of an inline mic preamp. The first one is the Polsen XP30D. The second is the popular FetHead. And then third is the Cloudlifter dual mic amplifier. These inline preamps require phantom power. So the best way to use these inline mic preamps is to connect it directly to the mics. And from the inline preamp, you connect an XLR going into your audio recorder. In the case of the Cloudlifter, you connect a mic to an XLR into the Cloudlifter, then connect a second XLR from the Cloudlifter to the audio recorder. I would definitely recommend that you record all of your audio channels going into your audio recorder. That way, when you bring it into post and editing, you'll be able to individually isolate each mic. I would suggest when recording with the F6 to make sure that you're recording the audio in 32-bit float. That avoids clipping. Make sure that you have phantom power on. You can have a combination of wireless mics along with hardline mics. All right, so let's plug in the Sony wireless receiver, which has 2 wireless channels. That can either be a wireless lav or a wireless stick mic. It could be for a boom operator. With this F6, for some reason, when you plug in any kind of mics, especially when they're hardline mics, not necessarily the wireless ones, but I've noticed there's a lot of noise that comes through it on the line out. The line out audio is always very loud, and you would have to set your camera's incoming audio adjuster manually. If you have the option of using the light out mode, that would be best. If that doesn't work, you can put it into mic with phantom power, and then you just adjust accordingly. If the levels are too hot, you can bring them down. If there's a little bit of noise, bring them down. But between this Sescom attenuator, it brings everything down to a mic level. Test 1 2 3 4 5. Test 1 2 3 4 5. Test 1 2. As you can see here, these are the 2 wireless lavs. Let's test them. Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Wireless lav number 1. Test 1 2 3 4 5. Wireless lav number 2. So here we'll plug in another mic. To this mic, I have plugged in the Polsen XP30D, which is an inline mic preamp. And same thing as the FetHead. It will boost your audio gain without having to do it on the actual mixer itself. Let's test this out. Test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This is the RE50 mic going into the Zoom F6. Now let's plug in a standard shotgun mic. See how this sounds? There's no preamp plugged into this one. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, for the 6th mic going into the F6 will be one of my favorite mics, my boom mic, Sennheiser MKE 600. Let's plug this in. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a Sennheiser MKE 600. All right, you see here, all those 6 mics are only going into input 1. I can adjust them individually going through the F6. I still have 1 mic input left on the FX30. If I wanted to, I could plug in an XLR splitter into input 2, and now I have another 2 mics going in. That would be a total of 8 mics going into the FX30, recorded in camera. Let's say you're recording a band, a concert, and you want that individual instrument, that individual vocal. You can get that. All those channels will be individually recorded, and you could manipulate the sound, the gain, make any adjustments you need to that individual mic or instrument vocal itself. I have these additional 2 XLR inputs. I will attach 2 mics to that for a total of 8 mics going into the FX30 now. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is mic 1. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is mic 2. Now we have 6 channels of audio going to the F6 into the FX3. And we have 2 mics with the XLR splitter going into the input number 2. So it's a total of 8 mics. If I had another Zoom F6, technically I could have another 6 channels of audio going into the camera. This is obviously an extreme example, but it's just to show you that you can have multiple channels of audio going into your camera. And in this case, up to 8. In the case of having 2 F6s, you would have 12 channels of audio, along with that ability to record within the F6 and individually manipulate each one of those channels. If you only have a 3.5mm record jack in your camera, it's not a problem. You would change up the setup slightly. This 3.5mm extension coming out from the line out of the F6 would simply go into another 3.5mm jack, and that would just plug right into your camera like that. And now you have the 6 channels of audio coming into the 3.5mm jack in your camera. In your camera, you can make some adjustments. It's not the greatest with these cameras. So in this case, you have to rely on the adjustments that you made in the F6 in order for the audio to sound better. You don't have as much control without the XLR handle, but it can still be done. And again, you have 6 channels going into the camera, same way, just going through the 3.5mm jack. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to see more instructional videos as this one. Until then, see you on the next one.